Hello friends, I hope you are having a wonderful week so far. I do realize that my posting schedule has been a little bit erratic lately, and I apologize for that. I've had a lot going on at work, I have had some stressful things going on in my personal life, and I honestly just haven't really been in the headspace to make especially my YouTube videos where I need to come on here and talk and be a little bit more high energy. I just haven't felt quite up to it. So please forgive me for that. I do hope to be back to a more regular schedule soon. But today is, as you've probably seen by the title, today is the pre-tied video. I had someone asking me in the comments the other day about pre-tides the other day. It was probably weeks ago, maybe longer. I had someone asking me about pre-tides, and the thing is, I don't actually own many pre-tides. At the time that comment was left, I owned precisely one, just because I really like the flexibility of, being able to do more things creatively. But between that, and then I had another conversation with someone on Instagram who has a difficult time wrapping due to chronic illness. And so I really wanted to be able to make this video for those of you who are interested in pre-tides. So I have with me today pre-tides from a few different brands. I am going to talk about the ones that I have, also some of the ones that I have seen but do not have with me, and try and give you an overview of just things to look out for, things to be aware of when you're buying pre-tides. I am not necessarily going to talk about price other than to say higher or lower. Most pre-tides I find tend to fall somewhere in the $25 to $35 range. But what I don't want is to give prices in this video and then have prices change and this video is still up. I will also be linking in the description box below a variety of pre-tied vendors. If you have other suggestions for people who sell pre-tides, please leave them in the comments. I would love to add them. And perhaps I can put the prices in that list as well, because that is a lot easier to change. So first things first, what is a pre-tied? A pre-tied is typically made from square scarf. So this is a square that I bought from the Little Tickle Lady. This is one that has the sewn in velvet headband. So it is a square. And typically a pre-tied is folded onto a triangle, and then these are all sort of gathered to create a pocket for the head so that it kind of goes on like a hat. That it goes on just, it is a pre-tied scarf. So some of them come with velvet headbands, some don't. They can be made of different materials. Some are lined, some are not. And I'm just going to try and talk about, the ones that I have, what I think are kind of the pros and cons of each. And so the first one I'm going to talk about is the first pre-tied that I bought. So this is, I also, just on my own head, this is a Rapunzel signature shaper, just with all of the stuffing taken out, so that I can slip pre-tides on and off during this video without having to stop. Okay, so this is the first pre-tied I ever bought. This is from the Little Tickle Lady. It is made of a shimmery Turkish cotton, and it does not have a velvet headband. It has kind of like almost like a binding type material here, and then this is gathered with a little bits of elastic. So I'm just gonna slip this on. When I bought this pre-tied, she has a ton of options, and I wasn't quite sure what color I wanted, so I decided to go with something neutral, something that was relatively close to my natural hair color, and here's what it looks like on. So this is another one of the reasons that I personally don't tend to wear a lot of pre-tides, is because I don't like how long the tails often are, and especially on me, because I'm short, this goes past my waist. It feels very long, and for me, that's not as comfortable. So this is what it looks like. As I said, it has no velvet. It is not adjustable, although it is elasticized. So if you have a bigger head than I do, and this, like, I have some looseness here. If you have a bigger head than I do, it should still fit. The tail is sewn just like this. And yeah, so there are a couple of things that you can do. If you prefer to have shorter tails, you can always take your ends and just gently tuck them up and underneath to create the look of shorter tails. That is going to get, you know, bulkier at the nape of your neck. You can do the same thing with this little tail and back. If you want to tuck that in, if you want to tuck either side all the way in, you can do that to change up your look a little bit. So another thing in this particular pre-tied is that it is one layer. So it was probably made from a square that was cut in half, and you can also, is this one layer? No, what is going on here? No, it is 2 layers. I lied, it is 2 layers. So some of them are made from just like a triangle, but yeah, you can tell looking at the ends here also because this is clearly an end that has been folded over. So this is the heaviest pre-tied in my collection weight-wise. This cotton is a little bit more substantial. It works perfectly well. I don't ever really leave the house in these, so I don't worry about this falling off, even though it doesn't have a velvet headband in it. Now I will say, this is not necessarily representative of all the pre-tieds that the Little Tickle Lady sells. I know that some of these do have velvet headbands in them. I also know that she just released an exercise pre-tied, so it's made of like a dry fit kind of workout clothing material. And it has shorter tails, which are going to be better for physical activity, and those absolutely do have a velvet headband in them. So just read the descriptions carefully when you're on her sites, but that is this one. I really wish that I could tell you price-wise where this falls. I don't remember what I paid for it, and I haven't looked at the prices on her website recently. But yes, this is like a good, basic, solid pre-tied. I keep it next to my work computer, so I work mostly from home, and I keep this next to my computer. If I have a video call and my hair isn't already wrapped, I will just throw this on, and I wear it a lot for that. Now I'm going to talk about the newest pre-tied in my collection. So if you follow me over on Instagram, you may have seen recently that I posted about Daughters of Israel head wraps, and I think this is a newer company, and I have followed them for a while. I hadn't yet purchased anything, but they posted about a new feature on their website, which is essentially that any square scarf that they sell, you can either just buy the square by itself, or you can have a velvet headband pre-sewn into it, like on this scarf, which incidentally, at time of recording, does not cost anything extra to have that velvet headband put in. Or for an additional fee, you can have any square scarf on their website turned into a pre-tied. And I just thought that that was so wonderful because it's so many options. She has a lot of basic colors, just solid colors, and she also has, this is not, well, we'll get to that. She also has some really, really beautiful prints. So I posted about this to my stories. I commented on that post saying what a wonderful idea I thought it was, and Malka Hana at Daughters of Israel reached out to me and very, very kindly offered to send me a couple of things. So the first thing that she sent me is this 7 species scarf, which I will probably do a whole separate video about these. So it has figs and dates. If you're not familiar, the 7 species are 7 species of plant, edible plant, that are mentioned by name in the Torah. 2 of which are dates and figs, and she sent this to me. It's big, it's beautiful. She apparently designed these herself. They're so pretty. So she sent me one of those, and she sent me a Pretied. So this is the color Lemonade from her website. So all of her Pretieds do come with velvet sewn in, and it is sewn all the way around the front here. And they are open in the back, which I will talk more about in a minute, and they are adjustable. Look at that. They come with this, that you push a little button and you can slide it out, slide it back in to make it looser or more snug. And I love this. This is very light fabric. It is also double layered because it was a square that was just folded in half on the diagonal. So let me just pop this on. So here is where we start getting into something on a few of these Pretieds. So sometimes, because the velvet is sewn on the underside and they don't want the stitching to show on the top side, sometimes you will have to do a little bit of fidgeting with the front to get it to sit nicely. And it goes much better over just plain hair than it does over a velvet headband like I have it over now. And then I'm just going to slide this adjustment to make it nice and snug to my head. And so this is what this one looks like. So this is an open Pretied. So as I said, there is not necessarily anything that covers up in here. Now, you can absolutely fix that. So what I like to do is I'll fold up one layer, and then this layer can tuck, and it can tuck right underneath this elastic, just like so. And then you have the look of an open Pretied, an open scarf, but without any risk that your hair is going to show in the back. Or, of course, you can tuck all of it underneath. That is also an option that is available. I really do love the texture of this. I'm pretty sure this is just straight cotton. The texture of this is beautiful. I think this color is so pretty. And it's just, yeah, it has a really nice light feel. I also, because it's a little bit thinner, what I like to do sometimes is just put a little knot right there, and that also helps shorten the tails in front to a point that is more comfortable for me. So yeah, that is Daughters of Israel. Yes, I as I said, I think also her scarves and Pretieds seem to be a little bit on the less expensive end. So if you look at her website, again, any square scarf that they have can be turned into a Pretied, which I think is just absolutely wonderful for people who want more accessibility, more options. I think it is beautiful. Now let's talk about what's going on up at the front here. And I'm also going to talk about a Pretied that I do not have. So the Little Tickle Lady also has a little bit of stitching here where it's holding this in place. And so that keeps it from kind of rolling the way that this one does. Now, I don't mind taking another couple minutes to get it settled, because the trade-off is either you have something that goes on much easier, but you have a seam, or you have something that takes a little bit more work to get settled that doesn't have a seam. And it's really just a matter of personal preference. And so I'm going to talk very briefly about the Rapunzel Pretieds. So the Rapunzel Pretieds are fairly similar to this. They have a built-in headband. I don't believe that they have adjustability in the back. However, they do come, they are double layered with one layer that is sewn down so that it's completely closed, and then the outside layer hanging loose so that it gives the appearance of being open, but it isn't actually, which I think is really nice. Now the Rapunzel Pretieds do have stitching across the top here, and that keeps these fabrics from slipping against each other, so they go on really, really easily. I do not own a Rapunzel pre-tied, however, I have modeled one, I have worn one, so that is one of the ways that I can speak to it, and I think they also made a video all about their pre-tieds, so I will link that below as well so you can see them talk about their pre-tieds. Yeah, so the Rapunzel ones I think are really lovely. They are a little bit on the pricier side relative to this, relative to I think most of the ones that I'm going to show today, but as I said, it's a pretty minimal price difference. I think, again, I don't want to give exact numbers right now, but like they're within range, just at the higher end of it, and the range is not that significant. But yes, the only other downside with the Rapunzel pre-tieds is that they tend to be in smaller runs. They can sell out quite quickly. So when they do a pre-tied drop, and I think they're carrying more now, so it is a little bit less of a scramble. But if you do see a pre-tied that Rapunzel puts out, you might want to snap it up sooner rather than later because they do smaller batches and they don't last necessarily that long. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the final brand for which I have pre-tieds in my possession, and that is Valerie. Now, as I said, I do not buy many pre-tieds, and so this and the Little Tickle Lady ones, these are the two pre-tieds that I own. However, one of my best friends wears a lot of pre-tieds, and so I borrowed a few from her to talk about. So all three of these are from Valerie, and they are different materials. This one is the lightest. This is just like a straight light cotton. This one is like a crinkle fabric in this beautiful cobalt blue. And this one is chiffon on the outside. And so the other two are squares that were folded. This is only a triangle. You can see it has that flat edge. And then on the inside, it's lined with cotton. So even though this is chiffon, it's a single layer, it's sheer, it does have a lining. Now, this is probably still a little bit sheer. Especially if you have darker hair and don't want it to show through, you may wish to wear something underneath something if it's this light of color. All of these have the velvet built in. All of them are closed in the back. However, Valerie does sell open pre-tieds. So if you prefer an open pre-tied from Valerie, you can find them. They also sell some really cute headbands and other accessories. Not just pre-tieds, not just squares. They also do sell squares, but yes, lots of variety. And again, I think these are really, really nice. These also have a seam at the front. This one has a seam. This one has a seam. And this one has a seam. So that is also going to go on. I'll just show you. And this one goes with my outfit really, really nicely. Would go on nicely if I put it on anywhere near close to centered. So yes, also goes on very quickly, very nicely, minimal desire to roll with that seam there. So those are really pretty. Now I'm going to talk about one more thing, and this is not a pre-tied, this is a beanie from Scarf Bar. So it is a beanie, and it's hard to see, but it does have velvet sewn into it. So Scarf Bar, I believe they do carry pre-tieds, but they also carry other, excuse me. Okay, woo, yeah, anytime you're pulling things on and off, things might dislodge. So yes, I will go ahead and pop this on. So you can also find beanies. Snoods are another option that similarly just kind of pop on. And these are also, the beanies are really nice. They're very nice for winter months, and they're very nice if you are perhaps living or traveling somewhere that you feel a little bit less comfortable wearing a wrap. So this is what they look like on. It's got, this is like their little logo tag, which I think is supposed to be better adhered at the bottom. This is also, I borrowed from my friend. I think she got a lot of use out of this over the winter. But just, yeah, another option. So if you have difficulty wrapping, if you, have limited mobility or, other chronic illness that affects your energy level, there are a lot of really, really great options out there. And I really want for this video to kind of be a master list for people to explore and to see what they like. So as I said, I'm going to link a whole bunch of pre-tied sellers in the description box. Tie Your Knot is another vendor of pre-tieds that I was not able to get my hands on one of theirs. But yeah, so if you have somebody that you buy pre-tieds from that you really enjoy, please let us know so that I can share it with the rest of anybody else. And I also just want to say, I've spoken to women who feel they feel bad about their wrapping ability, whether it's a skill issue or a mobility issue or a health issue. And, I am not a rabbi. I am not your rabbi, but I've heard a lot of guilt from women. I've heard a lot of women putting pressure on themselves. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional talking about it. And so I want to say that, we're not a big community, women who cover our hair in this way. And we should really do our best to be supportive of one another, to be gentle with one another, and also to be gentle with ourselves. If you struggle with hair covering, whether it's for physical reasons or emotional ones, that's okay. And you're not the only woman who does. Part of the reason that I have my channel and my Instagram is because I want to help women make head covering easier and to feel a sense of community around it. And so I hope that I am succeeding in that goal. It means the world to me to be able to connect with you, to help you, and to feel the support that you've been so kind in giving me back. So I feel like I'm about to lose it here, so forgive me for all of that, but I hope that you have found this video helpful, and until next time, that's a wrap for me. Thank you so much for watching.